Gunpowder Gamble is an aspect that me along with many others have slept on, probably for a good reason too. But with the introduction of Prismatic, the build crafting synergy that can complement Gunpowder Gamble is actually better than you think. So much so to where you can achieve an overall 216% increase in the grenade damage. And this grenade hits extremely hard at base, for the main reason that it doesn't do grenade damage at all. It's an ignition, which helps the fragment synergy even more with Facet of Ruin, which is a 20% increase in the overall range of the explosion, taking room clearing to the next level. Almost reminds me of the Warmind Cell era. But since this grenade is not tied to a cooldown, it actually helps with the build remaining fresh and versatile. To get to the Gunpowder grenade, you need 6 charges. And with Prismatic altering the aspect to be more freed up on the sources to gain charges, this makes it to where you don't really need to be rocking a solar weapon at all. Though this aspect does have the description that solar weapon kills will grant 1 charge. This is nice and all, but the more optimal route would be to do the part of either ability kills or elemental debuff kills. To break it down for you, elemental debuff kills such as Shatter, Volatile, Jolt, Unravel, Scorch, and Ignitions give 3 charges towards the grenade per kill. So if you jolt an enemy and the Chain Lightning kills 2 enemies around him, that's a full Gunpowder Gamble grenade at the ready. And ability kills grant 4 charges per kill. So by using Combination Blow to kill 2 enemies, you would have a full grenade ready and charged. Now there are 2 outliers that I want to talk about briefly, and that's Threadlings and Tangles will give you 6 charges off of 1 enemy kill. It's weird, I know, but that makes things like the Call with Hatchling and Threaded Spectre amazing to run with this aspect, to where the only limit to the Gunpowder spam is the 6-second cooldown timer that it comes with. And with the new exotic class items being able to grant Hunter's Heart of Inmost Light, the ability spam does not stop just because you don't have Combination Blow on. Now getting into the subclass, I want to start off by saying that there is no one way to do this. The main notes that I want you to take away are, as long as you have a way to apply a darkness debuff to the enemy, such as slow or sever, and if you are able to build stack severity with the exotic class item, then you are good to go. Now officially getting into the subclass, my super is just Gold Gun, helps out take out the tougher enemies for when I come across one, mini bosses and such. Now moving on over to the dodge, we have Gambler's Dodge, helps keep the melee up at all times. And with that said, my melee that I'll be going with just for this specific variation of the build will be Withering Blade. The 2 reasons that I am not going with Threaded Spike is because of the reason that 1, they both apply darkness debuffs, correct? A Withering Blade comes with 2 charges just by default. So the fact that you can get 2 and it jumps around just like Threaded Spectre does, I feel like it is the no-brainer option to go with. For my grenade, I am only going with Swarm Grenades because of the idea that it is solar. You don't need to go the route of Sunshot in order to get your stacks of charges for Gunpowder's Gamble, but I like Sunshot a lot, so I'll be going with Sunshot. And with the idea of gaining my stacks with Sunshot, matching my grenade, I will also be gaining stacks with Verity. Moving over to the aspects, we'll move past Gunpowder Gamble, for that is self-explanatory in the build, and on to Threaded Spectre. Since I can already apply a darkness debuff to enemies with Withering Blade, I didn't see too much reason to go with Winter Shroud. It's goated, I love it, I really do, but to keep things nice and fresh, along with the idea that Threadlings off 1 kill can give me a full stack charge for Gunpowder's Gamble, I feel like it is a match made in heaven. For the fragments, I want to start off with Facet of Ruin for that overall 20% increase in the area of effect explosion. This is not correlating to its damage, it is simply just the distance that the explosion travels. Facet of Courage for the 10% increase in damage when attacking a darkness debuffed enemy via our slow from our Withering Blades. Facet of Dawn with the pairing of the artifact mod Shield Crush to further increase the damage of our grenade by 25%. For it states, when you are radiant, grenades deal increased damage. This does directly correlate to 25% when doing testing. Facet of Blessing for every time I get a melee kill with either Combination Blow or the Withering Blade Shurikens, it will start a health regeneration. It's not restoration, but it's still pretty good. Facet of Purpose for the extra survivability, being able to gain restoration on orb pickups simply because we have a solar super equipped. And lastly, Facet of Protection for the 15% increase in damage resistance when surrounded. Now I do want to say that if you are going with a Volt Shot primary or a Destabilizing Rounds primary, using the Volatile and Jolt to gain your stacks of Gunpowder Gamble, you of course would want to pair this with either Arc Bolt Grenades or Magnetic Grenades for the additional side effect that you can gain stack severity for this. At ×5 stack severity, you do get 100% increase in grenade damage, and it is pretty great across the board. But if you are running the Arc Bolt or Magnetic Grenade, you can swap Facet Facet of Blessing out for Facet of Dominance. To be able to apply Weaken on the Void Grenade and Jolt on the Arc Grenade, the ability kill will count as 4, and then the elemental debuff kill will count as 3, thus just giving you another Gunpowder Gamble grenade straight out the gate. But since I'm not going with that, it is Blessing for me. Now to briefly talk about what would be considered the god roll for this is there are 3 options. I feel like Verity is the hands down perk option that you have to have on it, or it's just more damage. But for the secondary option, I do have an Inmost Light class piece. And Inmost Light works better on hunters than it ever did on titans. With Withering Blade jumping off of enemies one at a time, it will shoot you all the way up to 2 stacks of ability regeneration. And then you have your dodge and your grenade on top of that additional ability regeneration. It was almost meant for a hunter if you ask me. But you don't have to go the Inmost Light route either. For if you actually wanted to do a combination blow build with the Winter Shroud aspect, you could go a Caliban's Hand Verity combo. The idea to get a combination blow kill, granting you the 4 stacks, and then the ignition killing the remaining enemies in the area to grant you the remaining stacks just to get your Gunpowder Gamble onto the field. That is another pairing that works quite well if you ask me. Of course, I don't have any of these 2 out of 2 god rolls that I speak, whether it would be Inmost Verity or a Caliban's Verity, but that's just the topic that I briefly wanted to go over at the moment. So the 3 perks you're looking for is Caliban's, Verity, and Inmost. But now we are actually going to get into the mods here. Pause on the screen if you just want to copy them, but we will be discussing them pretty much right now. Coming over to the helmet, real briefly there, just Harmonic Siphon, simply because Sunshot drops orbs, and with those orbs we get our Facet of Purpose and a lot of ability regeneration with the mods that we'll be going with over our legs. And Ash's assets. The Gunpowder Gamble grenade does give you super upon kills. Of course, it is a grenade, so surprise, surprise, really, right? Moving on to the arms, we do have Firepower, just so our Gunpowder Gamble grenade can spawn orbs for us, along with Bolstering Detonation and Focusing Strike. For every grenade we throw, Shuriken that's bouncing off of targets, we just get a little bit more of that ability regeneration back to our class piece. Sorry, class ability is what I meant to say. And then with our class ability, we just get our melee back all together. For the chest piece, we just got our standard resistance mods. Moving on. For our legs, nothing too special. We got Recuperation, better already, along with the restoration that we will get from Facet of Purpose, of course, and then an Absolution mod. I would have doubled up, but they are worth 3. So Absolution is on orb pickups. You will gain energy for all your abilities. It's kind of simple, it's kind of nice. All I needed to go into it. Now for the class item, hopefully it's your god roll and then you can actually masterwork it out. It's expensive to masterwork, so that's why I haven't done that yet. But I have a Reaper mod because I will be dodging somewhere in the combat rotations. A kill right after I use my class ability will drop an orb of power, dipping into a lot of things, whether it's giving me restoration, ability regeneration, or just a little bit more super because it is an orb of power. Powerful Attraction because it is better just to have it than not have it, if you ask me. Going around and hunting for orbs in the middle of combat can disrupt the flow of things. And since dodging is in the formula of the combat rotation, of course Powerful Attraction is just a no-brainer to go with. Special Finisher because we love specials. That's it. Now as for my closing thoughts, there's really no limit to this build for how forgiving it is. Combination Blow is an amazing melee, and if you were to actually pair that with Winter Shroud, that's a deadly combo with Facet of Courage, of course. Just additional damage right there. And if you got the exotic class item that gives Calibans and Verities, with Combination Blow giving 4 charges and then the ignition killing enemies in the around area, will cap you off with full charges of the grenade. So it's a very valid way to go about it. And with the idea of you not running Stasis Shurikens for Facet of Courage synergy, this can make it to where you can swap Threaded Spectre out for Winter Shroud as stated before. Now, I hope this build has given you a little bit more of a freshness to hunters. I know everybody's, including myself, making builds about hunters and they're punchy. Trust me, it's a goated build, but if you ever want to take a break from that and play more of the distance game, you definitely can with this Gunpowder Gambles build. So with that said, I'll let you guys go off and have your fun with it. Take care and peace.